Hey, can I throw a conspiracy theory at you guys?
Hold on.
My roommate told me this.
Okay.
So back in the day, there were so many more people bringing up UFO sightings, and you don't see that as much now.
Yeah.
And there's a theory that because now everyone has like all the phone recordings, everyone's got cameras, why would people be visiting those periods in time? Because they're not aliens, they're time travelers.
So they could be human time travelers.
Exactly. So they're going back to periods where there isn't recordings of these things happening. That's why way back people are like, oh, there's floating orbs in the sky. It was happening all the time before camera recorders.
Okay, that's an interesting idea.
And now you don't see them anymore because they don't need to go back that far.
Listen, I'm just wondering like how high was your roommate when he like came out with this? But
probably pretty high, but it's fine.
This is episode number 11 called The Crossover. This week's episode is going to be This week's episode is going to be interesting. 2 podcasts at the same time. We're talking 2 shows at the same time. The Prolex podcast meets the Third Rule podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Prolex podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. On the Prolex podcast, we talk about photography, videography, projects we've been working on, tech news, and then break down our favorite video from this week. But before we jump into all that, please do check us out on Instagram at Prolex Media, where we post quite often, post stories, we post these podcasts, we post a whole bunch of everything. What else do we post, Jordan? We post like everything. Just like everything we're up to.
Yeah, a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
But less about us. Let's talk about the guest we have on the show. Guest, do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Sure. My name is Kyle Didur, host of the Third Rule podcast.
Awesome. Okay, well, I mean, before we jump into the Third Rule podcast and before we jump into more of you, we do this thing where I just throw a curveball at Jordan every week with a question of the week. And actually, like, no word of a lie, like hand on heart type of stuff. Like, he doesn't even know the question of the week. So if you're cool with it, can we throw you the curveball and like see how you can answer the question of the week?
Sure.
Okay, amazing. It's nothing like crazy. Don't worry about it.
There's no scandals are going to break out from this.
PIN number.
Look me in the eyes when you say it. So if you could have one superpower that could only be used for the creative industry, what would it be?
For the creative industry?
Yeah, so to take photos, videos, graphic design, social media management, whatever. But like, if you could only use a superpower within...
Well, I'd be flying.
My dude, you just stole mine. But anyways. Okay.
I mean, that's kind of a stereotypical answer.
What's the first thing you're going to do? Like, what would you use flying for?
I'm going to stick it to Transport Canada for their stupid drone laws.
No, dude.
This is actually super funny. I just finished listening to that episode.
Which episode?
With Kyle. You guys got heated about the drone.
You know what? That was toned down. I held back.
No way.
So you replied and like why are you so heated about it?
I just think Transport Canada is a bunch of idiots.
Okay. Now go more details so we can like use this as like a petition to like screw them over.
Okay, well, I mean, I don't know how many people have listened to the episode where Kyle Shappert and yours truly, Kyle Didur here, talk about the drone laws, but I just think they're going way too far with what they're allowing. Like, for you to have a license. I mean, it takes less to get a car license and drive a car and kill somebody on the road than a drone. That's nothing is gonna happen.
It's 1.3 kilograms versus like 2,000 pounds.
I mean that what is it, that Allstate commercial or Farmers Insurance where the drone hits the windshield of the car? Like, that is highly unlikely. But if it happens, you're not going to kill somebody. But if some 16-year-old decides I'm going to go, like what we always hear about, I'm going to go do 180 down Bishop Grand and wraps it around a telephone pole.
And that's fine, but drones are not allowed.
Yeah, but drones aren't allowed. Sorry, I can't fly my drone over Bishop Grandin, but I can drive down Bishop Grandin.
And go. Did you see that story where there's the two people got caught street racing and they were like caught at 204 on Bishop?
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah,
so I'm just saying, like 204 on Bishop versus like 55 maxing out my drone on Bishop. Like, I mean, I feel like one's a little safer than that. You know what I mean? Like,
see, before now, I know you guys do have licenses to fly drones, or I know you talk about insurance. in a previous episode. So I'm assuming you're trying to get allowed to fly.
So, long story.
Okay, so anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get into that.
No, it's all good. We're on the same page. We hate Transport Canada.
I was just going to say, in the old days, you should have flew the drone through the red light camera on Bishop Grandin and see
a
if
license plate, like a fake license plate.
and see if it would have flashed and just like suck it.
Yeah, honestly, I want to fly with like a paintball gun and just like shoot Transport Canada or something in the windows and be like, like. No, again.
Anyway, I don't Transport Canada. I just think like they're turning into a bunch of SS officers in Germany, 1939.
Like they won't let you get away with that.
Like, I mean, lighten up here.
No, but it's honestly, it's so silly because like now they're going, like we were talking about this last episode where they're going heavy on DJI and they're like importing
in the States.
Different thing, yeah.
No, but not only about import, but also about the fact that they're saying that they're like sending the private information to China or something.
Did you hear about that?
I did, yeah. Well, I'm from your podcast. I heard about
it. So they were basically saying that accusing DJI, which is like the drone gods of the world, basically, of sending information back to China because manufacturing is in China. And I feel like that's just another way to freaking like control the drone community.
Oh, yeah.
And their response was like really, obviously they're like the legal blabber jabber, but like what I translated to basic English and like my immigrant English is that basically they were saying that they, by doing that, they're limiting the creative industry to not, and they obviously like said it in like a very professional way, like the drones help save lives and helps like jobs and whatever. And I'm like thinking about it, they literally use drones to observe like areas and like
the fire department, Winnipeg Fire Department has a drone. Are you telling me they're all licensed and gone through the regulations? Like, no way.
Yeah, they probably, well, if they crash in the set of fire, they'll probably just put it out.
Yeah.
So we just need a fire truck is what I'm saying. Prolex Media fire truck. But anyways, well, back on the original question.
Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. No, sidetracking the show here.
I think we just became best friends because we both hate Transport Canada, so this is great. But Jordan, tell us, what superpower would you have if you could with the creative industry?
Oh my god! I mean, flying just seems like a great answer now. It's simple, but it would really help a lot.
The creative industry part throws a little bit of a curveball in there.
Yeah,
kind of.
If you guys don't mind, just put the mic a little more in the middle.
I don't know.
Don't hog the mic, Jordan. No, I'm
Sorry.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I feel like the first thing that comes to mind is like controlling time, but I don't know what I would get away.
That would be cool. That'd be cool.
But like, what would you do with controlling time with the creative industry? What would you do? Just date back
sleep?
I would go back in time to document pivotal moments in the 20th century in high definition.
Whoa.
That's what I would do.
That's sick.
Hey, can I throw a conspiracy theory at you guys?
Hold on.
My roommate told me this.
Okay.
So back in the day, there were so many more people bringing up UFO sightings, and you don't see that as much now.
Yeah.
And there's a theory that because now everyone has like all the phone recordings, everyone's got cameras, why would people be visiting those periods in time? Because they're not aliens, they're time travelers.
So they could be human time travelers.
Exactly. So they're going back to periods where there isn't recordings of these things happening. That's why way back people are like, there's floating orbs in the sky. It was happening all the time before camera recorders.
Okay, that's an interesting idea.
And now you don't see them anymore because they don't need to go back that far.
Or cameras were just shit and they would take photo of like a light post and it would look like a UFO.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, listen, I'm just wondering like how high was your roommate when he like came out with this? But
probably pretty high, but it's fine.
No, listen. I mean, that's why we live in Canada, free country. Everybody can have a power of say and like
you can say whatever weird thing comes to your mind.
It's like,
you know what? I almost think I would change my answer now that you mentioned the time travel. I never thought of that. I think it would be worth documenting certain things in HD.
Oh man, that'd be
I think I might have to steal your idea.
Can you imagine flying a drone in like World War II and capturing like 4K video?
Yeah.
And like
it could be pretty epic.
Bringing it here, and then can you imagine the amount of money you could sell that for?
Like even going further back, like you don't even have like just written documentation of like the military stuff from like Roman stuff like that. Like actually seeing these things play out would be incredible.
Can you imagine flying like through dinosaurs' arms trying to catch the drone, and they just be like, no, psych, and you got this other dinosaur just grabbing.
Yeah, but then Transport Canada would be like, you can't fly.
That's right.
Well,
some guy with a clipboard just pops up.
Sorry.
A couple million years ago.
Yeah. Listen, man. Yeah. Just wearing one of those like fucking hats with the rim thing and like traveler shorts.
So what about you though?
What about me?
Since he said flying, that was going to be yours.
See, I'm very I've become more of like a business oriented person from like, because I don't really take photos anymore. So I would say if I knew exactly what people wanted with every single product that we or service that we provide.
So like read minds?
I guess essentially, like, I mean, that's like, yeah, read minds would be like the general category. Yeah, that'd be cool, you know, to know what exactly what my girlfriend wants to eat instead of guessing. But either way, no, but I mean, with clients, it'd be great because like a lot of times clients don't know what they want, and no matter how many questions you ask them, like no matter how deep you try to go with like, they sometimes don't know what they want either, and like no matter how many questions you ask them, you can't lead them to the answer. So it'd be cool to just be like, to know exactly what they want, and then like add your own creative spin to it, and then that's how you get like the product that they love, right? Because like oftentimes, like with weddings, it's easier, right? Because you just cover the event, and then you add your own spin to it, like a creative spin, whether it's the music, the effects, the editing, the coloring, the shooting style, whatever.
Right.
But you just got to do A to Z the whole event. Versus when you do like a commercial for somebody and you pitch an idea and they're like, oh, you imagine an idea one way, your videographer imagines it a different way, your assistant or whoever, a third person imagines it a third way, and you tell it to the client and it's like telephone effect. And like, right, and by the time you execute it, it's something totally different. So if you knew exactly what people wanted, kind of shot by shot type of deal, and then you just add your own creative thing to it, that would be cool.
Yeah.
And then this way, can you imagine if you just like every single person that you made a video for, or like a photo shoot for, would be like,
exactly right.
Holy shit, this is exactly what I wanted.
It's kind of like the movie What Women Want. You ever seen that movie?
like what
Mel
clients
Gibson.
want. Yeah, like,
But well, I mean, that he's a marketing exec in that movie.
Oh,
so
yeah,
he goes into the minds that, well, it's kind of similar, not of the client, but one of his coworkers, Helen Hunt, has this amazing idea for Nike, and he steals it from her, and it's exactly what Nike wanted because they wanted a female perspective.
right.
Yeah.
But he gave it to
So it's kind of the same idea.
Yeah, totally. So I think that, I mean, but that's again, like if my creative, like with my creatives, but like if I were to do, or with my business sense, I mean, but with a creative sense, I would say flying too, just because I think it would be super cool to get like crazy angles that even if drones are legal, like some angles are really hard to get because you're afraid of crashing or like freaking like stuff like that, right? Can you imagine if you just...
Yeah, like, and there's just that separation, right, of like controls and the drone.
Well, actually, I didn't realize, but but how's that 15 minutes? But so I would say flying would be. Oh, sorry. What I was saying is that I didn't realize that there's usually for professional commercials, I guess, or even not that professional. Usually, there's a pilot, and then there's also the videographer that gets the shot.
Right.
So the pilot gets one camera, and then the videographer sees the second camera that's actually filming the shot.
Right.
So the pilot just has one camera that's like literally they just see like a super wide angle or whatever, and they usually wear VR to be able to be like right there. And that's how there's this really cool company out of Vancouver that's all they do is like crazy gimbals, like anything like on a vehicle. So they do like drones. They have like a truck with a massive gimbal that they go through like forests with the film car commercials.
Yeah.
They have like an ATV. They have a motorcycle. They have like a high speed camera car. So cool shit like that.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
And one of the things, and I was watching some of their like not how to's, but like BTS, I guess. And they're like literally like a guy that had a VR and he just saw, and it was like they were comparing his view versus the videographer's view. His view is like super lame and like just like super wide angle and barely moving, and like through the videographer's view, it's like the super cinematic shot of the car driving through the mountains. And it's like complaining about like having the bad view, not the good view. And I'm like, listen, man, at least you got through Transport Canada, okay?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So back to you, since you're the guest. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little more about yourself.
Okay.
You can dive into, like how you got started maybe with photography, what your background is, and so on.
Sure. I got started in it. First of all, my dad was a photographer, not like a true professional, but he did, I would say semi-pro. Like he sold photos to magazines back in the 70s and 80s.
Cool.
So it wasn't his full-time job. It was more just kind of like a supplement income thing. So he's always kind of been into it. He always shot slides on his 35 millimeter Nikon SLR, not DSLR.
Yeah.
Old school stainless steel body and all that. So I have these memories of.
Did you ever get to shoot with that thing, by the way? Sorry to interrupt.
He still has it. I think like when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to touch it. I was
Of
like,
course.
yeah, I think I might have shot 1 or 2 pictures with it.
But now you got your ID, you can prove that you're 18, so you should be able to just be like, hey,
He
listen.
probably hasn't used it in years.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, yeah, one day it'll be mine. One day maybe, unless, he's buried with it or something.
Yeah, I don't want the house, I don't want the cars, just give me that.
Give me the
one
camera
yeah,
and the lenses.
Yeah.
So I have these memories of him looking at his slides, like holding the slides up to the fluorescent light in the basement, like looking at them, because there used to be this thing. It was like a little, I don't know how to. It was kind of picture like a MacBook, but it would also have this tray on the screen to put slides on, so you could view the slides. I'm trying to describe this for all the millennials that have no idea what I'm talking about right now. But he would always be checking out his pictures because that was like Lightroom.
Yeah.
It was a physical, actual Lightroom of how to look at photos, which actually, when you think about it on Lightroom, when you look at each image, when it's in that small, it kind of looks like slides.
Right. Yeah,
actually.
it totally does.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where the name Lightroom came from.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Probably.
like some sort of correlation there.
Yeah. So my dad was always into it. Like he sold stuff to train magazines and landscape magazines and for like horticulture and stuff like that. So I always saw him shooting horticulture mostly and some architecture. So I just kind of got into it. And I think when I think it was probably 2003, 2004, I got this piece of garbage $99 camera from Radio Shack. It was like 1.2 megapixels or something.
Just like potato.
Yeah, like no screen on the back. It only had this small screen. It was smaller than 1 centimeter square. All it was an LCD thing to say how many pictures you've taken. Like you couldn't view the picture. It was just a counter. And I think it had internal memory for 15 photos or something. And they were just complete trash.
Jesus.
But that was the first camera I ever had.
Wow.
Yeah, when I was like 14.
Talk about starting from the bottom.
Yeah.
Totally.
And
Now
then
we're here. What do you shoot with now?
I have a 6D.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's a full frame Canon. It's okay. It's a number of years old. I'd like to upgrade eventually,
It's
but
like that was my first full frame as well. So
yeah, I really like it for night stuff. I don't like it for portraits.
No.
The autofocus I find is not good.
No.
For portraits. Like it's only got I think 11 focus points.
I see. Yeah.
So it's especially when you're doing like kids or family sessions and kids are going ballistic and they're running all over the place. You really got to be on the ball with what to focus on, where you're pointing it, and it still won't always catch, even if you're using no matter what type of glass lenses or not. It's just, so I'd like to get like a 5D Mark IV or maybe try out their new mirrorless or something.
As long as it's Canon, I approve.
Yeah, I'm a big Canon fanboy. I mean, I do like the Sony autofocus, how it can like pick out your eye. I think that's amazing.
As long as you do it after hours, I'm good with it. But,
But I've got Canon glass, like L glass, so I don't think I'm going to be changing.
Yeah, it's a big investment.
Yeah. There you go. Now you've realized that your Nikon sucks. Just the door is right
I'm
there.
also very invested. I've got all my glasses Nikon.
Whatever. So now with photography, where do you hope to go with it? I guess actually before you answer that, where are you now? Like, what do you do with photography? What's your?
I guess I would consider myself a semi-pro. Like, I don't do it as a job or as a career, but I have made money off of it.
Right.
I don't do it regularly. It's kind of if someone either I know has asked me to do a shoot or a family shoot, or once in a while there's like I might get the odd email from some company or corporation, which doesn't happen very often. Like it's pretty rare, far between, just because I'm not marketing myself. Like I'm not trying to get jobs. I probably should be. But like since it's not my 9-to-5 job, it's just kind of here and there. It's mostly I still just shoot for fun, like as a hobby most of the time.
What stuff are you usually shooting? Like for fun, what is it like going out and doing?
Kind of depends on the mood. A lot of times it could be night photography. I am way overdue to go shooting with some of my buddies who I've been friends with for a number of years now on Instagram. Kyle Didur and I have done a lot of night stuff over the years, so him and I are way overdue to go shooting. Night long exposure, stuff like that, and some smoke bombs. I've had I've had about 4 or 5 smoke bombs sitting in my garage for 2 years now. I haven't used them. It's kind of pathetic.
Jeez, well, do you want me to break into your garage so you can use a smoke bomb to have an excuse to hide?
So yeah, I mean, where I'm going, I don't have plans to turn it into a career.
I see.
It's just kind of status quo where if I can make some money on the side, awesome. If not, then I'll just keep going as a hobby.
So what is your ideal career? Does it have to do anything with the creative industry at all?
I really like graphic design a lot.
Okay.
I kind of dabble in it a little bit. I do a lot of graphic installation for one of my main jobs.
Right.
Vinyl on buildings and signs and wrapping cars and doing paint protection on cars, striping vehicles, like all that sort of stuff.
Right.
But I also like designing it. And,
Right.
I know I designed a hat for Okanor a couple of years ago.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
I won a contest where I got to design a hat for them. So that was neat. So I would like
Which
to...
one was it?
Wait, hold on. Also, contest to design merch. We talked about this
I
last
was
time.
thinking about something like that too.
Yeah, I didn't realize they did it. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, no, they had unfortunately the company's not around anymore. They had to rebrand for trademark reasons. But they held a contest where it was based on photos of their gear. And so I took a couple photos in the mountains of wearing their hat, kind of like with the canoe in the Rocky Mountains and stuff, like on Lake Agnes, I think it was, which is a hike. You hike up from Lake Louise. And so that was the winning photo.
Nice.
So I got to design a hat, and then I got to take the promotional, like the product photography for the hat.
Oh, that's so cool.
So that was enjoyable. That wasn't part of the contest. I just said I'd like to do this, and they're like, yeah, sure.
You just extended a contest for yourself.
I guess I was like, why not? It's just more portfolio work to show that I can do product photography.
Right. Yeah.
So that was kind of fun. So I got to do that, and sorry, I kind of forget your original train of question here. My bad.
What the career choice was for the
where
future?
I'd like to go? Yeah, I don't know. So I'd maybe like to get into more graphic design maybe in the future. Do that instead of more of the installation.
Yeah.
I still really do enjoy the installation. I just took a job doing the installation. So if anyone hears this, it's not like I'm going to quit on them. I'm not going to just bail. It's not going to happen. But one day down the road, I'd maybe like to get into graphic design and still do like shooting some weddings. Like I've done videography for weddings.
I see.
So
video too.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I do video as well.
That's awesome. So now you said you wanted to go into graphic design in the future for career choice, but where do you see photography fitting in that kind of in your life, I guess? Would you think you want to keep it as a hobby, or you want to?
I would say as of right now, maybe still keep it the semi-pro avenue. If I was I don't know if you know who Scott Backen is in Alberta.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's I haven't met him personally. I just know him kind of through Instagram, messaging him a little bit here and there. But he's got a great page. He does a lot of. That's his career. But he started from taking iPhone photos. If somehow everything was to work out and I got a career like that where a couple companies saw what I was doing and liked it, and it rolled into a career, and I liked it. Awesome. I'd probably keep it going for a while.
It starts right here, man. It starts right here. You're gonna think back to the Prolex podcast. You're gonna think about the idea that you had.
That'd be cool.
One of these guys, I don't know, who's a big travel company. Freaking Cliff Bars is gonna hear this episode and be like, "Yo, that guy is a creator. We want him on our team." You know what I would like
to do actually?
Eat Cliff Bars. Man. No, I'm just kidding.
Eating Cliff Bars to keep me fueled up.
This is not a sponsored ad, by the way.
I would, not sponsored by Cliff Bars, but if you want to sponsor Prolex Media Podcast, Cliff Bars, please do it.
Yeah, please hit us up.
I love Cliff Bars. Anyways.
I would love to shoot a car commercial in the exchange.
My dude, join us. We're working with cars all the time.
I know you guys do phenomenal work. Just from what you do for Genesis and stuff. That's how I discovered you guys actually.
Oh, wicked.
Was seeing some of your Genesis work, and it blew me away. Because one thing I appreciate about you guys is that you don't use the same old tired locations, the same old boring stuff. You come up with actually a lot of locations or stuff that I thought of that I would use. I'm like, man, these guys are. That's awesome. These guys are on the right page here. Not to pump my own tires, but I really appreciate. And a lot of stuff that you've done, I never thought of either. But a lot of your locations, I find are they're really interesting. They look good. They're fresh. They're not overused. They're well thought out. They work with the vehicle, whether it be Audi or Genesis.
Yeah.
They're Thanks, just really good. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you. We literally purposely try to make an effort not to use the same locations ever.
Yeah. And you don't always just use the exchange, but I know a lot of times you'll see Hyundai commercials. They shoot a lot in Vancouver, and I've messaged Hyundai, not that they're ever going to see it or going to care about what I say,
Yo,
but
Hyundai, come on, man.
I've said to them, I said, you know, like Vancouver's awesome, but change it up. Come to an everyman sort of city. Don't go to the global city.
Yeah.
Come to an everyday type of city and shoot an everyday neighborhood. In the exchange, I shouldn't say it's everyday because it's not. It's very unique.
Yeah, but like less, not like metropolitan style city.
Yeah,
Just-
it's not New York. It's not Vancouver on the Viaduct or in Gastown. Like it's something different. I think you could shoot a ball and TV commercial in the exchange, and like I've thought of it for years, like either like Toyota or Chevy or something. Like hit me up, let me produce it.
Yeah. I mean, we work with Chevy, so hey, if you got an idea, let's.
Chevy.
No, talk to us, man. We got the plug. So like,
Right.
yeah, we got you, man. So you got an idea for sure. I mean, even to collaborate or whatever. That's awesome. So you kind of want to dive in more into video, hey? Like it sounds like it.
I've wanted to do more video for years. I just haven't had the time. I'm gonna blame not having some of the gear, and it's a weak, lame excuse because I know you don't need the excuse. I mean, I've used the stuff I have. Yeah. I'm just such a perfectionist. I want more. And then like the other day, a couple of days ago, I forced myself to go out and shoot film for a video. It wasn't film, digital, but shoot ideas for a film that I've had in my mind for like 2 years.
So yeah, tell us about this film that you've had in mind.
So it was just the idea is to call it.
Or if you're okay with telling us the idea.
Yeah, I guess.
Or maybe like the high level idea, like super like.
Vague. So the idea is just it's driving Winnipeg. So it's just I wanted to capture a bunch of footage of just driving around downtown and certain places of a certain time of day, just to see how it comes out and just make it like a 1 or 2 minute short video. I just always thought the city looks really good at twilight.
Oh.
So I just wanted to put together a short film. So I mean, I would have liked to have it on the phone on a gimbal so it doesn't shake when you're going over every single bump and stuff.
Which there's plenty of in one place.
So but I mean, I don't have a gimbal, and even if I did, I don't know how to mount that to the car since I don't have these big rigs like what Hyundai would use in Vancouver when they're filming a car commercial. So I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna mount it how I normally would do it. Yeah. And if it's a little shaky, like whatever, I want to film the commercial or film the film.
Yeah.
So I just did it. So I mean, I haven't edited it yet. It might be total trash. No one might ever see it, or it might be on YouTube. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. But at least you did it.
At least I did it.
Exactly.
So I think that's something a lot of people struggle with. I mean, myself included. I'm a procrastinator, and also I'm a perfectionist. So I kind of use procrastination.
Those two clash hard.
I use procrastination because I want it to be perfect, and if I think I can't get it perfect, I won't do it.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, that's kind of
have that same problem.
That's kind of why it took me 4 months longer to set up my podcast than it should have. So
I think the main thing is like, for me, I find that it was just like, okay, just do it now. Like, what do we need? Make a checklist. Do it. Let's go. Like the podcast, it was like Jordan and I discussed, like, hey, we should do a podcast. And we have Austin, the videographer, and he's like a big music guy, so he knows all about audio and stuff. And we're like, okay, what do we need for tech for the podcast? And Austin made a list. I'm like, okay, bye. And literally within like a week of like talking about it, or like 2 weeks, we like filmed our first one just to whatever.
Yeah. We're still trying to figure out what we're doing.
yeah.
Same here. I mean, my last episode, I totally buggered it up. So
that's all good. As long as you're doing it. As long as you're doing it. So now, for photography and videography, or for either, where do you get your inspiration from right now?
Right now, I mean, I do follow a bunch of feature pages on Instagram. I do get some ideas from there. A lot of it, I try and challenge myself just mentally to come up with something that no one does. I've tried to do that for a long time, whether it be shots of trying to do something that I haven't seen anybody else do, or that is seldom, or if somebody does it, try and do it a different way. So a lot of it, I guess, is I try and come up with it myself, just try and be different. But
just
I mean,
randomly, like just like try to challenge your own brain, like without looking anywhere or anything.
Yeah.
Cool.
But I mean, I don't just do that solely. I mean, I do follow a bunch of feature pages. Sometimes I get some ideas from that.
I see.
Maybe a movie that I'm watching, or an old.
That's a pretty big one.
Or an old advertisement in a magazine or something.
I literally watch commercials for fun to get inspired.
Yeah.
Like,
it's fun watching commercials on YouTube.
Yeah. And the thing is that most people like skip commercials, but I'm like, man, I want to see commercials. Like, also, every time I drive with friends with my girlfriend, she always gets, or mostly my girlfriend, gets mad about like how I always point out billboards. Not mad, but she's like, you're so weird. Like, why are you pointing out billboards? I'm like, I just want to see how much all these advertising firms suck at like doing billboards. I'm like, I only look at them because I'm in this industry. Some of the billboards, like, I can't even tell what they're about. And I'm like purposely looking at them for more than it should, because I could probably crash if it looked any second longer.
Well, what I would like to, I know we talked about the graphic design earlier. What I would like to do the most is be like in marketing and advertising.
Yeah.
But I don't have a bachelor's degree, so that's not going to happen.
But it's also about who you know, not what you know.
Yeah, that's true.
And then even in Canada, even though it's like a first world country and it's not like corrupt like where I'm from, Eastern Europe, there you can like pay somebody to be like, yo, can I get a job? Yeah, okay, how much?
Yeah.
And then like you pay them to give you a job.
Because there's so many just trash crap ass commercials on Canadian TV. And it's
so
like
bad. It's so bad.
My
Literally
dad-
watching it, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
What am I watching?
And you just see it. I'm watching American channel. It doesn't matter what you're watching, and it's just like, how can no one in a marketing agency in Canada think of doing something simple and fun like that?
Yeah.
Like my dad and myself, when they're watching a game or something, we're always complaining about like these stupid ads, and like, how come we can't like hire us to do one ad? Like O. Henry. I remember there was some O. Henry commercial or something. It's like, come on, O. Henry, like hire us.
Yeah.
I'll do an ad for you.
I do for like probably like a quarter of the cost that they're
Probably
getting
like
billed.
1/8 of the cost.
Yeah, no kidding. Like $100,000 budget for some shit like eat O. Henry. And
Yeah. Like, give me 25 grand done.
Yeah. Oh man.
That exactly.
Yeah. Jeez. $25 grand. Like we could probably close down half of Winnipeg with our prices in Winnipeg. Everything's so cheap. Now. So you had like you mentioned, you have your own podcast, and that's why we're obviously collabing today.
Yes.
Tell us about the podcast.
Sure.
What it is, where the idea came from, or like what the idea of the podcast is as well.
So the podcast is called the Third Rule Podcast. It's the name of it is kind of a play on words of the rule of thirds.
Right.
So that's just where that came from. Nothing fancy, I guess.
Right.
The idea of what the podcast is, my original idea was if I could do 10 episodes,
Right.
kind of like what Netflix does, like just a mini series or what they do for each of their seasons, where it's just 10 episodes, like a limited run. If I could just do 10 episodes where each episode I interview a different creative that's in a different aspect or different genre of creative media. Mm-hmm. So not just photography, but so like episode 3 was a videographer who does weddings. Episode 2 was a guy, Kyle, who does night photography a lot, but he also does a lot of landscape and adventure photography. Mm-hmm. Episode 3, the videographer was Dylan Parody. Episode 1 was Dennis Burnett, and he does a lot of street and BMX photography.
Right.
Some of the other ideas is maybe if someone does like a little business. I know I approached someone who has a jewelry company,
right,
and what it goes into taking that. I don't know if they're going to agree to it or not. They still haven't gotten back to me. What maybe it's like to do run a marketing firm. What is it like to run or an ad agency? What about just anything creative? Whether it be photography or video, different aspects of photography, whether it be portraits, long exposure, night photography, product photography, just all different aspects. So the idea was just to kind of get a sense of what it takes to get into it, how this person got into it, their genre. Yeah. Maybe if they're more successful than, some people are always going to be more successful or more into it than others.
Right.
What did it take for them to get into? Did they have any breaks?
Right.
Were they lucky? Like, did they know somebody? Did they go to school? Or what did it take? Like, just stuff like that.
Yeah. And what's the reason? Why did you start the podcast?
I did it because I always liked watching talk shows. I always liked watching, whether it be Letterman late at night or the Today Show, and
then like a secondary question.
Okay.
Have you watched a lot of talk shows?
I would say so.
Okay, which makes sense why you have a talk show voice. Because like the way you talk is just like
very good.
Oh, thank you.
Candor.
Yeah, and
thank
you never like do the ums and and the bed, whatever, and like you have like a
See,
deep
you know
voice.
what? I think that's when I hear the recordings of what I've done, like that's all I hear is saying like or like. I think I say like way too much, so I'm trying to cut back.
You just
on
like
that.
what you talk about, that's all.
Yeah, I guess.
But actually you have
thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Very good voice. So sorry to interrupt. So you wanted to basically see what it takes. I guess that's the reason you started a podcast.
Yeah, I always thought it would be cool. I shouldn't say it's not. I shouldn't say it's impossible, but it's highly unlikely a guy from Winnipeg is going to get to be on the Today Show, or be the next Letterman or something. It's not impossible. With YouTube, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Right.
but I mean, it's highly unlikely. So I just thought it would be cool to interview people in my own style. A lot of times when you see, like, say if you're watching YouTube and you're watching, say, like a radio show that hosts an artist and they have it on their YouTube channel, but it was also like simulcast on the radio. A lot of times I find they ask just crap questions. So I know right now people are thinking, oh, well, your questions aren't that good on your podcast. So what are you talking about? But I would try and ask people the questions that never get asked. Because when I'm listening to something, I'm thinking, ask them this, ask them that question, or how do they do that? And they don't. They just ask them some bubblegum popcorn question. Yeah. Just a platitude or something just to fill time. And they don't ask them the nitty gritty to get into it, or they don't ask them what everybody wants to know, how you do something or how you go about it. How do you get 1 million followers on YouTube? Or how do you get 70,000 followers on Instagram or whatever? People don't ask those hard questions and they're not real about it. So I just thought if I had a podcast, I could ask those questions, get real about it, and then also just have some fun. And then I could use it as like kind of like a portfolio project. So if I had 10 episodes, I could use it as a portfolio project. And then one day if I could get a radio show or something, I could use that as like a demo tape.
So now you mentioned the questions that nobody asks. So how do you come up with these questions?
Now I'm going to get roasted because now I'm not going to be able to come up with them.
No. How do you come up with these questions? Like, do you research the person?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll research the person if they've been in any news articles. Okay. I'll pull up the article. I might quote some of it or read some of it back to them and ask them about what they said about this. I might just a lot of it I'll just come up with questions on my own.
Cool.
Excuse me, just trying to just see what they shoot, how they shoot it, and just think like what I want to know. Because I mean, I don't know everything about photography. Yeah. Obviously. So there's a lot of things like I want to know if I'm watching a YouTube video that someone might not answer a question, and I'll want to answer this. I'll want an answer to this question, but no one asks it. So then if I'm talking to someone who's big into portraits, right? Like I don't know a lot about portraits. I don't shoot a lot of portraits, so I don't think I'm a big expert with portraits. There's a lot I would have to learn. So I would just ask them what I would like to know, what I think would make me better, right. And in turn what I think would make the listeners better, or what they might want to know, or what they might want to care about.
I see. Okay, that's cool. That's interesting. It's an interesting take. That reminds me of that show, The Hot Ones or whatever.
Well, I was going to mention that too, actually, just because what you mentioned with talk shows, a lot of the questions that are getting asked in rotation are a lot of their promotional like spin, right? They go on with a set of questions that they know they're going to be asked. And I can see why that would be frustrating to watch, because you're getting to sit and almost have this, like through TV, but personal interaction with a celebrity, and you want to know some things about it, and they get asked the same, how was it to work with Hugh Jackman? And yeah. They don't really want to tell that story, right? There's different things there. Sean Evans does an incredible job of asking questions that these celebrities are not getting asked at all. And and how many times they make these promotional stops with E-Talk, with news, whatever. They're making these stops. They stop at Hot Ones, and these guys asking questions about, how was your first job working at this fish shop in your hometown or whatever.
Right.
Like, those are questions they never get asked on.
Yeah. And that's kind of like where I was, kind of like that. Like I find, I've never really watched a lot of Hot Ones, but like Joe Rogan, I find does a really good job. Yeah. Or also, I mean, like if you're on Letterman or Leno, or I guess I'm living in the old days here. If you're on Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, you've got 7 minutes of airtime, and they're asking you about the movie. They're asking you about like one little thing, and that's it. But if you're on a show, like I really like Tom Power, who hosts Q. I think he's got a really good style. He asks a lot of good questions. I mean, I'm not condoning him or his lifestyle, but Gian Ghomeshi, when he hosted that show, I thought he was a really good interviewer. Yeah. Like Tom Power and Gian Ghomeshi asked really good, concise, thought-provoking questions. Or if you're watching 60 Minutes, which probably very few people who are listening to this watches 60 Minutes, but like that show is a gold standard for journalism. Yeah. Like they ask good questions. They don't ask just stupid, light questions like what some radio station would ask an artist about, like, how are those rims on your Escalade? Like, who cares? Yeah. Like, I don't care about rims. I care about like where you came from in the projects, like how you got started or something like that. Yeah.
I like it, man. You get real with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So get real. I like be real and get real.
Yeah. That is a quote. That is a quote of the day. Be real and get real. Okay, cool. So now we can probably skip the. Well, actually, we'll do like a quick. Do you want to talk about Patreon real quick?
Sure.
Yeah.
We have a Patreon, and we have one patron.
We do. When the
Speaking of which, he actually sent his question in.
he did.
Yeah.
Oh, sick. So we got.
So our patrons, if you're supporting us, you get to send us a question that we will we'll try to get to answering
Jesus,
on the air.
English, my friend.
So anyways, this is our one patron. His name's Zach Fled, who's the first guest on our podcast, actually.
Yeah, who was also a model for your Audi run.
Yeah. He's been there a couple times now.
Yeah, Audi with Valentine's Day.
Yeah. And so this is his question. It's pretty, it's like career related to social media. So he said, what are some tips that you would give to someone who wants to pursue a career related to social media?
Oh.
And like, I mean, we all live in this whole social media age right now anyways. But pursuing a career in social media, what do you think would be your tip for someone trying to do that?
You're talking to me. You're asking me right now.
Yeah.
You want me to take this up? Okay. For tip for social media, I would say always value first. I would say if you are confident in, well, again, like I'm assuming you already know what you're doing, right? Like if you're in social media, like not how to get into social media, but how to get business when you are an expert in the field, I'm guessing, right?
He's not an expert. So what's your tip? What would be your
So
tip
I
to
would say
make
like,
someone
okay,
expert?
first tip would be like obviously like be the expert in the field. Educate yourself to such extent that you can be confidently say that you're one of the best in the city, because people usually only want to work with the best. Mm-hmm. Now what you do when you're at that level, when you're confident and passionate about what you do and can like, you're sure that you can deliver it via your own social page, for example, that you like did a bunch of practice on your own social feed and you can deliver constant results, whether it's like really good content or gain in engagement or followers or whatever. What you do is then you just pitch companies through social media and just be like, hey, your page sucks, but obviously in a professional way. And then say, look at my page, how you see this, you see that, you see this. This is what you should be doing, and I could do this for you. I'm going to do this for you for free for 1 month to show you that I can do these results for you. Mm-hmm. And then after that, if you see value in it, let's keep going. If you don't, you can go ahead and don't pay me or whatever and do your own thing. Now what that does is it shows that you're so confident in what you do that you're willing to do a month for free. It's basically like being almost cocky, but in a good way. It's almost like
you're
like,
confident,
it's not, it's like that kind of gray area where it's like not really cocky, it's more confident. And then people are like, well, what am I going to lose? 1 free month of social media.
Right.
I'm not going to lose anything. But then if they don't go ahead with you, they try to keep up with what you're doing. They're not going to get your results because you are so good and you do have the experience. And then they're going to be like, okay, well, I need you now. How much?
So you're saying, so whether it be photography or video, like
anything.
Whatever you're doing in the social aspect, just do work a little bit for free.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking more like management, I guess, for social media. So like,
I guess I should clarify like his question. Is it more like, is he talking about becoming a photographer or something, or just working in social media marketing?
That
social media
question
marketing
was a little vague, but yeah. What are some
social
tips
media
for pursuing a career related to social media?
Yeah, so like
Could be a lot of different things.
That could be, yeah, for sure. It could be a very
I think
wide
it's
range
with
of things.
anything to do with the creative industry or any service-based industry, really. Like you're doing HVAC, doesn't matter. You do like, you know, or I guess it's something more that's kind of like reoccurring income stuff or reoccurring service. So like stuff that you do month to month, like social media management, for example.
Right.
That's what I would do is like, or Facebook ads or like Google ads, right? You do a month for free, you show them you can get them 30 leads. Sure, you'll dump like 6 hours of your time in a month or 10 hours or whatever, but then you've got a client that will trust you for 10 or 12 months.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like your sales pitch, right? Instead of just showing on paper, you show physically what you can do.
Yeah, and then if we did look at his question from like another point of view, because it does say pursue a career related to social media, but that essentially could be like, I hate the word, but like influencer marketing, right?
Yeah.
If you can sell yourself to then potentially make money as a career, that's a completely different thing. And for something like that, I would say know your strengths. And again, like if you're doubling down on whatever your skill set is, so be it photography, videography, and things like that, just pursue that. And another thing, there's so much knowledge out there for you to like learn from other people that are doing it the best that they do, like on YouTube and all these people that are doing exactly that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, even think about like even a classic example like football teams. How many hours they do in classroom watching professional teams play. Like high school teams or university college teams watching professional team hours and hours and hours of play. What are they doing? They're looking at what others are doing, all their mistakes, all their wins, and how they did the mistakes and how they did the wins. Learn on the mistakes, learn on the wins, apply it to don't make the mistakes, make your own mistakes, learn from them. Right? It's just like constantly like knowledge is power. And I hate cliche sayings, but they're sayings for a reason. Because like knowledge is power is because the more knowledgeable you are, the more you know, you can use it to your advantage. You can use it as power to push the weaker link or push weaker competition or whatever you want to call them out of the way and power through.
Yeah, absolutely. Become knowledgeable.
Yeah. Okay, so for this part of the podcast, we do like a video breakdown. So we have like, as I said,
I'm looking forward to this.
I'm a commercial nerd, and I basically just watch commercials all the time just for fun. Like literally, like I'll be eating dinner and watching commercials, and like girlfriend will be blabbering in the background and be like, I am listening.
The TV show you've got recorded.
Yeah.
Where the hell are the commercials?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Literally. Okay, so we usually try to keep the commercials. You wanna sit down?
Yes, sir.
You sit down. There's no walking on the podcast. Okay.
I just want to restart that one because I don't want to stop.
All right. Okay. So what I'm gonna do? So yeah, for this part, we basically review our favorite commercial of the week. Watch commercials all the time, and this is kind of the one we decided to look at today. Okay. It's gonna have a very lame 3, 2, 1. One. Okay, so boom. Excuse the dirty screen.
Inexcusable.
Unexcusable.
Yeah.
All right. It's called Audi Clowns TV advert.
Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in mid-air, sent in the clouds. Just when I'd stopped opening doors, finally knowing all that I wanted was yours, making my entrance again. My usual flair. Quick, send in the clowns. Don't bother. They're here.
Pretty clever, actually.
Yeah, I think that is very clever using the clowns.
Yeah.
So I guess the main idea of the commercial is like showing off all the technology. I drive an Audi and I'm a big Audi geek. So to maybe to people that don't, do you drive an Audi?
No.
Okay.
I want to. I really want the new A5.
Those are nice.
But yeah, I'm a big Audi fan.
Okay, wicked. Yeah, same. So basically, they were showing a bunch of the technology features like lighting up on the dash, which was like the blind spot monitoring and collision prevention assist, and I think that they should have made those things a little more obvious, because even the general individual that owns an Audi that has this technology, you tell them, hey, are you using your collision prevention system? And they're like, what?
Right. So that's a good point, actually, because since we work with them a lot, knowing that sound as well was like triggering at the audio. Yeah. So that's not something I guess
most
everyone
people
would
pick
know
up
right off the start. But I think the overall theme though was like very clever, and people.
That's why I picked it. Yeah. I think in what Audi is really good at with all their commercials is that they film the video with some sort of a theme, and then the tagline at the end connects the theme to like Audi somehow. So here it was like Audi clown proof, right?
Yeah.
So,
and also it shows that people are clowns behind the wheel.
Yeah.
People are like, don't be a clown putting lipstick on and
that's kind
all
of
that other stuff. That's what I picked up on it.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought. The whole thing was it's less about worrying about you as a driver, but the fact that like there are terrible drivers on the road, and the car can help you stay safe. Yeah.
And it was very cinematic too, with the anamorphic lenses and the lens flares too.
Yeah, and one thing also noticed that they Actually, maybe not. But no, one thing I was gonna say, like the decoration of the sets too, like of the cars and the clowns and whatever, and like also notice how they use obviously colorful clowns or whatever, but also notice here, last thing you see is blue. And notice on the car is blue.
Same color.
Yeah, same color. It carries over. Also, look how they use a very natural background, all white.
So it pops more.
So the colors pop
That's
more.
something that I always find so impressive about the commercials that we see is that not just the color profiles. Yeah, so not just like the color profile that they've done, all the color correction is always like professionally done, but they have color palettes chosen for the commercial, right? So
Which
there's
is
like
impressive, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like it's so consistent from frame to frame. So even when it changes scenes from shot to shot, there's still like a clear choice on the colors that are used.
Also, I noticed a small little cool thing, but also a slight screw up on their end. This is not a real shot. This is a digital image that they put a shot over. Being a perfectionist that I am, look at the uneven space of the screen framing plus the thin space on top versus the bottom. Because in the real Audi screen, it's all even all around.
See, but the common person probably wouldn't know.
No, but the thing is that most people don't even pause the commercial. I just pause it. But still, you'd imagine if they're dropping probably whatever 50 to 100K on this,
Right, yeah.
they would, if not more. But either way, I'm just being picky, right?
Yeah.
Also, the fact that they use like an upside down like table mirror, that's hilarious.
Yeah,
Like
that's incredible.
Like vanity mirror or
Yeah.
whatever it's called.
And you can see the colors are. I'm pretty sure the other car just passed in the background.
It was blue, yeah.
Yeah, there's the blue
I noticed
car
that too.
passed by. Yeah, so yeah, the color palettes are still there. They still have the teal in the background and some of the features.
Also, notice the little details too. You can see the car's headlights coming, and then boom, it passes. Like that's a lot of thought.
Yeah, there's
into
a lot
it.
going on. And I wonder how much work do they go into like at the bridges as well, like the teal
blue
and the
and
yellows
the balcony
are all
and
there
here.
as well.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of that is like done in post.
Probably a lot. I would imagine this bridge, like it looks too contrasty to be real.
Yeah,
You're probably right.
Also, the background cars in Audi too.
And again, with the balconies on the other building, blue again. There's that's like so much continuity with the colors.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Also, that Audi is here again, and we got colors, yellow colors to match
yellow
this, and
and
the
yellow,
pink
yeah.
building.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That is crazy. Again,
A lot of thought went into
Yellow
that.
seats, the teal interior again. Yeah, it's really.
that's incredible. Blue bike in the background.
Yellow umbrella, the blue in the background. Yeah, it's
That's
yeah,
insane.
it's crazy.
That's insane. As you can see, we're nerding out over this, but like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of thought that went into this, that's for sure.
Another clown walking on the street, like.
That's something that we should definitely apply.
What, the color
We
continuity?
really breaking down like color palettes and things like that.
That's actually kind of cool because, like, again, this goes back to your point, like clowns behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Because this guy's like on the phone while driving. Like, that's awesome.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Like a dune buggy.
Yeah.
What is this?
awesome.
Driver assist. Oh, distance. So that's like keeping distance from the cars ahead of you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is actually the first bland car they used.
But then the self-parallel parking, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, they had to use this because self-parallel parking is only on the higher class cars.
Ah, I gotcha.
So they couldn't use the A5 or
Gotcha.
the A2 or whatever, or the A3. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's a good tagline at the end, clown proof. I like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's definitely. So what did you think overall?
I thought it was a pretty good commercial. I think I like how it's clever. I like the cleverness of it.
Yeah. But you made a good point. Like, it is hard to see some of the features.
That's about all we have time for today for the podcast. But before we let you go, not you, Kyle, but the audience, if you'd like to be on the show, just like Kyle or some of our previous guests, please do send us a DM on Instagram, on Instagram at Prolex Media, or email info@prolexmedia.ca. We'd love to have you on if you're in the creative industry or you have some marketing experience or so on. We'd love to hear what you have to say and answer a question of the day and so on. If you wouldn't like to be on the show but would like to support our show, maybe get us a new camera, please, so this one doesn't shut off all the time. That's probably battery.
Okay, say it to the wide.
Say it to the wide. Okay, well, I'm saying it to the wide right now because the other two cameras decided to give up on life. Yeah, and if you don't want to be on the show but still like to support us on Prolex, please do follow us on Instagram, info@Prolex Media. Why am I saying the email? Damn it. At Prolex Media on Instagram. Yeah, and Kyle, thanks so much. Oh my, sorry. Your name's Kyle, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I don't know why. I was like, wait, what? Because your thing is like Didur for some reason.
That's my last name.
Oh,
Didur's my last name.
Okay, that's what's like throwing me out. I was like, I remember it's like the Instagram thing is like Didur, but then like name is sorry, man. You can call me Bob to make up for it. But either way, Mr. Didur, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate you. Yeah,
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So this is part 1. Now we're gonna do part 2 for your show.
Yes.
And so everybody that's listening to this, the Prolex podcast, make sure to check out part 2 on what?
The Third Rule podcast.
Okay.
You were doing so good, man. What happened?
I think I went and I decompressed and then I'm just kidding. But either way, yeah, we'll catch you in the second episode. Cheers.